Yeah. Bit of a weird side here. This is the fuel tank in the Corona out. So I've unplugged it from the car. I've got the actual fuel filler is actually out of its place. It's hanging down in there. I don't want to pull the whole tank out. So the fuel lines are actually still hooked up. They're rubber lines, so there's a bit of movement. So I've dropped it down probably 20 odd centimeters. And as you can see, we can actually see now up inside, that's underneath the floor. That's my spare wheel well, which is where my sub box is installed. And anyway, what we're going to do, because I have some horrible rattles, as I did tell you, I was going to fix them. As you can see the black and the black kind of collar or whatever around that rim, which as you can see is matched up above. That's where it's rubbing. So that's where my fuel tank is making contact with the actual underbody of the car, and that'd be where the rattles is. So just because it's obviously touching, normally it wouldn't matter, but when you've got literally 6/8 vibrating inside of that spare wheel well, that's going to vibrate the two. And the tank is on kind of a suspension system, very ancient one. It's just a metal strap underneath, but obviously it has a rubber on the strap so the tank can actually flex and move. A lot of rags later. I mean, I know it doesn't look clean, but that's actually now cleaned both. I mean, the tank looks cleaner, as you can see. Top and bottom, I've scrubbed everything 3 times. So that is actually, as you can see the metal up there, it's pretty clean. So that is just raw metal up there. This side's had a spray on Deadener back in the 80s sprayed onto it. So that's why it looks like that. But anyway, it's all clean now. So we'll start applying Deadener. So I'm just gonna use the black stuff for the top of the tank, because the roadkill is, in all honesty, stronger sticking. So I'll use the roadkill for sticking upwards. Alright, so on the inside of the car, I've deadened the whole boot floor. Underneath the car now, I've deadened the entire top of the tank, as you can see, and it goes up over. I've done over this side a bit too, and then up the upside. So this is the underside of the floor that I've deadened. I've done this side, as you can see. As for under the spare wheel, I cannot get any deadener to stick to that. I've cleaned it 4 times with wax and grease remover, and I cannot get anything to stick to whatever deadener stuff that's been sprayed on there. So what I'm going to do now, seeing as I can't get anything to stick to that, I have already deadened over the spot where I think it's rubbing. But what I'm going to do is I've also got some of the Stinger Roadkill Ultimate. That's all I got is that little piece there. But I'm just going to cut that into a few strips and just put that around that bit, which is just on the curve there of the tank, just so that's pressed up against the floor, which is foam. Right, now that's where we're going to call it a day. So I've put the roadkill around the side of the tank, car builders is in there on the top of the tank, and I've got the foam all around the bit where it was rubbing. So that's one deadened tank. Anyway, and it's also obviously it's going to be more hollow at the moment because it is empty. But anyway, I've deadened that. Shouldn't be rubbing on the floor anymore. I've done as much as I can up underneath, so that should do us. Hard work actually. So we're going to bolt the tank back up now. So I'm going to fit another XC2110 mono amplifier. I've already got one in there. This is a second one. So that's a little 300 RMS monoblock. And we're going to be fitting 2 of the Shok 8s over what's in there now, which is 2 little Rockford 8s. So currently the 2 Rockfords share one of those. These 8s will get one each. While I got the box out, I'm also going to brace the center of the box. This is the one of the 4 passive radiators, because it did flex a bit. And I'm sure with double the power it would definitely flex. Here's that enclosure out of the car. There's the 4 8-inch radiators, the 2 Rockfords, and there's the new subs, or 2 of the new subs I'm put in. Now first things first, I already noticed one I have to change is I'd had the subs here and there, so middle of the box. Now if you notice the hump that is here versus in any other spot, that's because the actual wheel jack is centered about there. It's not actually centered with the box. Now it was okay for the Rockford, but that hump's definitely going to cut it too close for that one. So that's the box after I routed it. So I routed those 2 holes bigger. You can probably tell on camera. As you can see, it's now a mess. The subs do fit depth-wise. Alright, so now that we've got the 2 holes sorted, which are these 2, and cut bigger. Oh, and the way I cut them bigger, just so you know, is I got a 45 and I 45 halfway down the 12mm on each hole. And then I got this router bit here, which has the actual ball bearing on the top side. And so then the ball bearing ran in a little, obviously, against the 45 bit and cut it bigger. And I just went around that until I got it the right size. So it's not a perfect cut, but it's pretty close considering, and I'm happy with that. So that's that done, at least. So now with these cups, I'm not too lazy to cut a hole. I could easily put a second terminal cup in, but the issue is as I said to you, that the mounting for this underneath, for the spare wheel is centered, is just here. Now this is actually how I want to brace the box. So if I go and put a terminal cup here, I've got nowhere really, decent size to brace to. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is actually take the terminals out of this. I'm going to drill 2 holes in the top of this and mount the terminals in that, so that this will actually have all 4 in it. Alright, and there's our dual terminal cup. So we've got our normal ones on the front, and then we've got our side ones where you can actually mount the wire in from the side, so they'll be able to go in like that. So is it the best idea I've ever had? No, it's not. Is it even straight? No, it's not. Yeah. Obviously I have it so the terminal cup still fits, so if we take that out right now, it's a tight fit. What I have is 2 pieces of 12mm, obviously cut the same size. They're cut about there to there, from there to about here, so that obviously screws for the sub don't go into it and kink it out sideways or something, and that's literally bracing the whole box. So I could probably almost stand on that now. That's probably half my weight on it, on a fiberglass enclosure, so it's strong now. Now what I'm going to do to that is, as I said, I'm going to whack 1, 2, 3, say nails straight through. That's going to hold it to this wood, so it's not going to move. And then from the underside, I'll get a bit of glass, and we'll just put a few little bits of glass around the edges, and just join it up in there. So you can probably only just see it sitting in there. So we really just want to glass it to what's underneath it. So that's now nailed in, and that's the good thing about trimming a boxing carpet like this. Very simple. I've actually put 7 nails in that, which you can't actually tell, because as long as you've got a fair bit of air pressure, it'll drive them pretty far in. Then you just kind of move the carpet over the top, and it covers up nails like that. Alright, got the fiberglassing complete. As you can see, it's all wet in there. So I managed to stuff about 2 meters of glass around that center bit. So definitely enough in there, as you can see, glass right up to the top to hold that together. Alright, now it was probably about 2 months ago, what you saw in the beginning of the video, that when I actually deadened the bottom of the underside and the top of the fuel tank. I also deadened around the top inside here. I didn't take the box out at that point. Now what I'm going to do today is, now that I got the box out, is deaden the floor of the box. I'm not going to be deadening anywhere around the sides. I won't be deadening around that actual mount either, obviously, because I still want the box to go back into the car. It obviously will raise it about 2-3 millimeters, but that's not a big deal at all. It actually sits in just a tad anyway, so that'll be fine. Obviously if I was to do the sides, it wouldn't go back in, but if I only do the bottom, it will be fine. Alright, and that's nearly 1 full sheet of Dynamat on the bottom circle there. So that's what's left from 1 sheet. So the way I've done it is I've cut it into a bunch of pieces and filled that area without overlapping at all. So it is just 1 layer. I didn't want any overlapping, so I don't need it any thicker than it already is. So that's 1 thin as possible layer of Dynamat, and that makes a difference. Makes it pretty dampened. And obviously I use the car builders on the top side because it's plain black. That's why I use the car builders on the top side, whereas under there I don't care at all. So Dynamat it is, which I do like the Dynamat better, don't get me wrong, but they don't make it in a plain black. So anyway, that's all done. Still waiting for the glass to set. Has taken a little longer than I thought, but it is a cold day. Alright, so I had the heat gun set up on a little jig kind of thing, blasting into it for about 10-15 minutes now straight. So it got pretty hot in there, and now it's all set. So I'm going to put the radiators in and put in the terminal cup. Alright, enclosure back in the car now with the subs and a different kind of offset, and now we're going to fit the actual woofers in, and we'll be done with it for today. She's out washing my car. Look at her there. Yeah, you wash my car. I have got the shock subs in, as you can see. I did have to take the rubber surrounds off, like the rubber actual gasket around the edge there, just so I could actually still get the grill on, because the grill actually sits between the edge here, which is no big deal. Again, nothing's actually visible in here for this build. Right now they're not wired still, because I've only got 1 amp in here. I didn't get time this weekend. I also did rewire the grill as well, and which, as you can see, is taking a bit of a beating. It's getting a bit dented, but it does the job. So I now do have 2 sets of wires coming off it, obviously 1 for each sub. So next weekend we're going to get the second amp installed, and in the second part of this video, and then we're actually going to see the subs moving. And anyway guys, that'll be the end for the video. Dead and under the box, got the Shok 8s in, and the all underside of the fuel tank's now done too. So more coming next weekend. We're going to get the amp in.